because of insecurity issues. So kindly just ask the question.
The question is,
let me finish.
Yes.
If in a situation whereby you're not satisfied or the CS does not have maybe the response, we will of course agree with him to conduct his officers, that is of course the IG, and still furnish this committee with their responses.
Bwana CS, are those 17s, who are now working with OCG Raya, is that a replacement or not? Because there are two different places, two different constituencies, 600 apart, 600 kilometers apart. That's my the question. And then on the 17 itself, are you aware that out of these 17, 2 of them, because they are now on the payroll of the government as SOG workers from Raya, and they have no guns for the last 2 years. Are you aware that 2 of them have been hunted down in their homes and killed? And if yes, what action is the ministry doing in relation to that? Lastly, I asked you on the question of gaps. What is the gap of NPR? I just want you to go on record. What is the gap of NPR in Fafe constituency? And what is the ministry doing? And give me, please, some timelines which I can work with. Lastly, on the issue of interventions, you have noted down a lot of things. You have been in office now for 2 years. In your reign, Bwana CS, what is the number of NPR in the last 2 years and a half you have, in the 2 years and a half you have been in office? What is the number of NPRs you have recruited in Fafi? That's one question. 2, are you aware that Galmagala is a police station with an OCS?
Was that part of the question?
No, it's part of the interventions. I'm just asking what he has done on the interventions.
Just to guide,
Yes.
You know, of course, when we do invite the CS or any other officer, we normally furnish them because, you know, they had also to ask from the other officers. So the issue of the police station was part of the question as well. So that we stick to...
I'm heading there. I want to ask him on the interventions because he said there's QRU formed, all those things. I want to ask him on the police stations, because this is part of interventions. There's a police station serving a whole division. Does it have a vehicle? The intervention. In the 2 years you have in office, do you have a vehicle in that police station? Have you, if not, what are you trying to do in that sense? 3, there's QRUs you have mentioned here. 2 of the QRU is Nanigi and Kamude, each one hosting 80 to 90 soldiers. Do they have vehicles for the 2 years you have been there? So I want a clear indication from your ministry for the 2 years you've been there. What exactly interventions have you done in terms of recruitment, in terms of provision of equipment to those soldiers which are there, in terms of vehicles on there? Do you have you ever done even a security road in that constituency? Is there a functioning airstrip so that it can serve even your soldiers in that area? And if it's not, what have you done in that? Those are my interventions. The questions on interventions. Lastly, on the issue of abductions, you said you have, I told you have a list of those people who have intervention. Can you just give the committee the number of abductions on records reported by the constituents, abductions both by Al-Shabaab and suspected government agencies? The 2 abductions. List, just not the names, but figures, if you have. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Yakub. Maybe in 5 minutes, Waziri, you can attempt.
Chair, first and foremost, if my remarks appear dismissive or arrogant to the committee, I want to apologize. That's the least of my objectives. Secondly, the issue of what the minister does, what the IG does, it was not to remove responsibility of any type from the minister, was to explain we have a constitution which creates independent offices and independent institutions, including parliament. And therefore, I just wanted to say that you don't expect the minister to micromanage the IG on operational issues, but if the information on operational issues is requested, I can get it from the IG. That was the point, strictly. But I cannot keep on telling him, deploy here, give this kind of firearm to this officer. Those are operational issues, and the Constitution gives him that leeway. Thirdly, the IG was in northern Kenya last week, the acting IG that time, to map out that area extensively, because we have real challenges there. Myself, I've been there overtly and covertly many times, so I have a fair understanding. I may not have the details that the Honorable Member for Fafi has, because that is his constituency. I may not have all the details, but I have a fair understanding, general understanding of the area, the needs, and so forth and so on. And I want to agree with the member and those who have spoken also in support that Fafi, Ijara is one of the neediest areas we have at the moment. We've had other needy areas where the threat levels have significantly going down, and I've already said that area is where we are remaining with a great challenge among a few other areas. For example, a year ago, Boni, south of Ijara, Boni, Lamu, was a big headache. But right now, after we managed to put in a bit of operational and policy decisions, the place now is stable. I just wanted to assure the member and the colleagues team from that area that we are putting our efforts right now to make sure that we seal the gaps there. Around deployment, I agree. The NPR allocations for Northern Kenya generally are quite small. There was a recommendation, for example, for Fafi for 250. But you see, that's a recommendation. It's number two, it is subject to availability of resources. And number three, what perhaps we could do is to expedite that process, which I want to undertake on behalf of the National Police Service. But what I may not support or agree with is the suggestion by the Honorable Member for Laikipia North that we do away with training. We cannot recruit NPRs and not train and equip them. Unless I didn't understand, I heard as if the member said she doesn't see the need of training. Unless
I said I don't dispute
okay, sorry.
the fact.
Sorry, I apologize. It's my mistake. So we will expedite. So in the next 14 days, we are going to review the situation there. Out of the need of 250, we may not have the resources to implement the 250 at once, and therefore we can start with 100 or so, see how that pans out, and maybe another month or two, we can incrementally meet the demand. Even in the places where we have given a commitment for NPR, some of them have never been honored because of resource issues. For Isiolo, Wajir, I'm sure the member for Wajir is here, and so many other places. Even where we have given, we have not given the full complement. But I admit, I think that area, and perhaps that is the reason why that is the area now remaining, giving us a security headache, requires expedited focus, and I want to commit to the member and to the committee that in the next 14 days we will at least start with the deployment of about 100, expedite and look for resources for their training so that they can help us even as we meet the full need for that area.
Yes, for record, Waziri, for clarity, so that probably we don't go back again, that is Ijara and Fafi. area.
We can do 100 for a start.
Yeah.
Because I also know we are constrained for budget. But given the need there, we need to do that. And then secondly,
And kindly,
on
maybe
vehicles.
as we do, Bwana Waziri,
Yeah,
the area where the 16 were discharged,
yes,
because this is a member who has been actually, we have been in contact for the last 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
You remember even the time we had the team led by Kenan of Northeastern team,
yeah.
where he actually was appointed the Secretary General. The same of Fafi has been an issue every other time.
It is.
So
It's
can
my,
we consider,
yeah.
unless there is extremely compelling reason, to reinstate or to put the 16, which were
No, we'll
dismissed?
work with local leaders and the police really have to work with the local leaders to assess where the most need should be, and I think there's no problem with assuring that. With regard to vehicles, about half of the police stations in Kenya do not have vehicles. Slightly, actually more than 50%, because of resource issues. So we are really in a very delicate situation. Between the police and GAO, we need 5,200 vehicles. We just managed to get 1,000, which we have purchased, and they should be with us in about a month's time. And they have taken, Treasury took us rounds from as early as May. We had, and of course for good reasons, because they also didn't have the resources. So we negotiated downwards until we got the 1,000. What I can promise is that we'll prioritize the most needed stations, including the stations from the members' area. And I know many members here also have many police stations that don't have cars, the OCSs don't have AIE, and so forth and so on. The police equipment modernization program is what we want to use. And now that we have basic heavy hardware, and I think for the second and third year, we can invest more of our own usual security operations budget to take care of police vehicles, as opposed ordinary police vehicles or APCs for places like Ijara and Fafi. And then finally, I think, yes, that's it. The other things I remain guided on how to answer them, because some of them were not part of the statement. I may not have all the information on my fingertips.
To help those that, because time is really gone, and we still have got a number of members here. I think the last question was, do we have a number and the figures of the people who have been abducted by either Al-Shabaab or suspected government agency? I think that was the last question.
I think that was the last question, but I got the CS. He said he doesn't have those numbers. The reason I raised that question is to see the grimness of the situation, that my people are in fear. Either they're abducted by the government or by Al-Shabaab.
No, government
Government
does not abduct people, Chair. Even the word abduction, what we refer to in security is missing persons reports. That is the official legal thing, because somebody comes and says, my son, my uncle, my neighbor was taken by unknown people. It's a missing person report. And that information, I can also supply it within 24 hours, because there must be an OB. But, if the OB numbers and the number of people who have reported missing are needed, I can supply it within the next 24 hours as well. Is it for Fafi or for the entire?
No, it was Fafi.
Just for Fafi.
Okay.
Thank you, Bwana CS.
So you can combine together with the number, the total of the deaths.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Bwana CS, and thank you for correcting me on legal terms like abduction or whatever. Those are the terms we use. But I thank the committee for raising these questions and bringing the CS on board on that. I'm very happy that, despite the fact that he was a bit abrasive, but I'm okay with that, and I hope there's no issues with that. I just want him to know that at the moment, my constituency is inaccessible. I have been a victim. I think you saw on TV that was attacked, especially in that place in Galmagala. I'm pleading with you as a CS, please give a special attention to Fafi constituency. I want you to, you said you have visited Fafi. I'm not aware of that. Maybe you have gone in a discreet way. I'm not sure of that. But I really want you to go to Fafi so that you can even feel the blood with me, so that you can sense how sensitive it is. Otherwise, thank you for the questions. I expect more from you, and I know you are up to the task and you can do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So before you go to the next third question, maybe we are going to give Kenan just to have a second.
Chairman, initially when initially when I raised my hand, I wanted to ask my brother to withdraw that statement and apologize. There was no university, that earlier statement, but now that he has done, I think I'll leave it there. That's when I raised my hand, because that was completely outside our parliamentary practice. But secondly, this issue of Fafi, Oziri, and you know it, has dominated our regional agenda. I really want to plead with you. We all share the concerns of Honorable Salah. Generally, I must admit, there has been tremendous improvement of security in the region. I want to say it can be seen, it can be felt. But Fafi and Ijara have unique challenges. I really want to plead with you. Let's not leave the issues concerning Fafi and Ijara to this boardroom. I will suggest that you organize a meeting with the heads of the police, your office, because these two constituencies actually require unique attention. Whenever we have our regional caucus, the issue of Fafi, the issue of Ijara actually took our list. We have had, we went to Bura, the constituency headquarters of Fafi. And you can't imagine the kind of protection. We flew from Nairobi to Bura. I've been to Somalia, I've been to many other parts of the world. You need to do a lot. So my request is what the Honorable Salah Yaqub has said is our shared concerns. Please assist him. Thank you, Chair.
So I think that was just complimenting and, of course, reinforcing what we said. So kindly go to the third question. We have already 13 past 11. Honorable, I don't know whether it should be Abdi Ali on the issue of brutal attacks of the headers in Gabababa location.
Thank you, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members. I've been asked to tell the committee the steps that we are taking to apprehend the NPR's chiefs, AP officers who attacked herders in Gababa, location Ijara constituency, and also what we are doing to make sure this is not that does not recur, and the support being provided to victims of the injuries, and the measures we have put in place to address the issue of grazing rights and resource allocation around in that area generally. Honorable Chair, 13th August 2024, Mr. Said Komora, the chief of Zubake location, held a baraza at Mahono sublocation where there were farmers, there were Pokomo, involving Pokomo farmers from Tana River County and Somali herders from Garissa County. The agenda was about the conflict between farmers and herders, which is common in pastoral areas and other marginal areas of our country. But the meeting became violent, and as a result of that violence, two herders removed their spear with an intention to attack the chief. That prompted the NPRs, the two NPRs, who were armed with rifles to fire 5 rounds of ammunition. In the process, Mr. Reso Mohammed was shot and he sustained gunshot wounds on both legs. He was rushed to Ijara Sub-County Hospital where he was admitted in serious condition. The action taken, Honorable Chair, is that the police reservists who were involved in the shootings were disarmed, as is the procedure in these cases. And the DCI Tana River Sub-County has commenced investigations. The case has also been taken over by IPOA, because as I said, misuse of firearms by a police officer is not part of government policy, and therefore IPOA, which is the independent agency that deals with those cases, is already investigating the matter. The two, and then the other issue is what we are doing to make sure that this is not repeated. Number one, peace building and reconciliation initiatives. We have instructed our Nga officers at higher levels to make sure that they revitalize the peace committees and elders to make sure that the community is there, the farmers and the herders continue coexisting peacefully. Number two, we are doing, of course, joint security patrols from by officers from the two counties, Tana River and Garissa. We have reviewed our intelligence gathering to make sure that before such barazas are held, we are able to ascertain the kind of issues that are likely to be emotive and prevent the escalation of emotions that will lead to violent attacks in cases like this. And then we are also in that area revising, revamping our community policing arrangements and facilitating through, again, the peace building committees, the negotiation between the two groups, the farmers and the herders, some form of agreements which are very common in those areas. And we hope once the communities agree, we should not have an incident like this occurring again. In terms of compensation for the injury, and unfortunately we do not have any budget to compensate victims of crime. But maybe in the future, if we have budget, we could be assessing some of these cases and identifying possible cases for compensation. So the peace committees, Honorable Chair, have been facilitating mediation, and we hope after that mediation, we will have a peace agreement between those communities and reconciliation. And this is the same for other areas where we are having similar confrontations between farmers, herders, mainly around resources. So the grazing committees have been regularizing, regularizing some of the arrangements, and also we want to believe that this alternative dispute resolution mechanism is the key. Even if we will prosecute anybody who has hurt another or harmed another Kenyan, our experience in these areas is that alternative dispute resolution mechanisms, once communities agree, we will enforce them because they are more durable and more sustainable than the use of hard force. I submit.
Mheshimiwa, do you have got maybe a clarification further you need?
Thank you very much. For record purpose, my name is Abdi Ali Abdi, Member of Parliament for Ijara constituency. First, I want to thank the committee for the opportunity you have given me on this matter. I also want to thank and congratulate the CS for this new appointment and what he has given so far. But I just want to I want to say that I'm not contented with the information the CS has given. First, I want the CS to understand that this is a matter that has been there for the last 60 years, since independence, because of the 3 Mile factor. And I know it's not within his mandate but that's an issue that the ministry need to understand. This has been a problem that has been existing between Garissa County and Tana River, specifically the constituencies along the river. With the response that CS has given on the issues of, on the question of the steps that have been taken to apprehend and prosecute the officers involved and the administrator involved, he said very clearly that there were baraza that was called. You know where I'm talking from is a boundary issue. The baraza, the Zubaki location, it comes up to the, after even the river. And I have Gababa location, so we share the same. We have chiefs in Gababa. We have assistant chief in another sublocation of Gababa called Abdigure. We have DO division there. We have DCC there. So if the CS is giving me only the report on the other side, if there were barazas and there were herders involved, why is Ijara DCC not involved? Or the chiefs that were not, the chief from my side were not involved. I'm told that there's a baraza that will take place in this particular sublocation, which is in Tana River. Let us come together and do a peace building reconciliation. First, that information is fallacy. It's not there. And whoever gave that, because for a baraza to happen, two constituencies or two boundaries, there must be a notice. There must be a written notice to the both constituencies. It's not there. I want the CS to share that notices. It's not there. So this was just a one side, and that has been the trend for the last 60 years, where the chief comes from the other side. If there's a problem, comes to this side, he doesn't involve the other chief. They continue doing their own things, come with an NPR, use NPR and police officers to intimidate my people. So when he's telling me the CS, there are only 2 NPRs. There were 8 NPRs and 2 AP officers and 2 chiefs. Because immediately that thing has happened, the OCS from Masalani rushed to the site. And we have the OB number, everything is written. How the OB was written is how I put in my statement in the chamber. So let us not make it that this is a normal process that happened or there's a fight. There was an intention to intimidate my people, and this happens on daily basis. Just after this incident, another 2 incidents happened in that area. So I think we need to do further extensive investigation on this matter. What I want to hear from the CS is the issue of the chiefs. These chiefs have been there for the last how many years? What have you guys taken any disciplinary action? Because you have only told me NPR disarming. I'm not seeing any chiefs have been taken any disciplinary action. I'm not seeing. So this is a culture that has been continuing. And if you don't take action, the 2 communities, actually I'm the one on the other side, I'm the one who is spearheading peace. We have lost cows there, we have seen instances, over 50 goats were killed, were slaughtered, and put into the river, on the Tana River. And those goats belong to us. But what have we done? We have solved internally. But this matter now, already people who have lost lives. So I think I'm not contented with the statement on the steps taken. I want to see the chiefs taking action, the NPRs disarmed, and also the APs disarmed. Because if you don't do that, tomorrow they will also come with APR, NPR. Because we are not in control. If these NPRs, they are being controlled from the other side. If there's a joint operation, why are we not involved in the DCC Jara and the DCC Hall?
I think you've really made clear and passed your point. Yes. So maybe you can let the CS respond. But just to help us, I think actually your question on that, I think is very clear. The steps that are being, the statement that you sought, the steps that have been taken to apprehend and prosecute the NPR, chiefs, APs, officers. And I think the CS, if I heard him well, said is an issue being investigated by POA, which by law,
excuse me,
yes?
If you hear what the CS has said, he has only said 2 things.
Okay, he's here.
Yeah, he has said only,
but
for
purposes of time,
Chair, please. Just give me time. Mine, it has not even taken less than 5
Chair
minutes.
regulates.
Yeah, I'm just requesting.
And I know you really past your point.
Yeah.
Kindly.
No, I'm saying I have asked three questions: the NPR, the chiefs, and the AP. What the CS has given me, he told me NPRs only. Where are the chiefs? Where are the APs? That's my question.
Yes, you can respond
For
to
the
that.
APs, the use of force is between the internal affairs unit of the police and the IPOA, and I've said already, the two are working on it. Before arrests are made, there must be an investigation file which is complete and which has evidence that can sustain charges in a court of law. But I want to accept the suggestions by the honorable member for Fafi that we need to do a little more. Make sure, I'm going to verify whether this peace building is involving cross-border participation. Because if it is not, then it is not going to yield the fruits we want. And I'm going to demand from our officers there in the two counties to ensure that it is done and file a written report so that we don't get anything wrong. But I really accept, that it has to be done properly because border issues can be very sensitive. They are long-standing issues. There are no quick fixes around it. And more than half of the counties of Kenya have this kind of very emotive and delicate issues that need to be handled well. I take the suggestions by the member of Fafi, and Ijara and Fafi, they are neighbors. I'm sorry for the confusion. The member for Ijara. Thank you.
So just on the same, I think, if I got him right also, carry investigation. If there are officers, the chiefs, who are in any way involved in the wrongdoing, so that, of course, they can also, matters of discipline can be initiated.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Chair. CS, I just want to pursue what Honorable Abdi there has asked. I think these are the sort of questions that should never appear before a parliamentary committee. This is a strong omission by the Ngao officers on the ground. If they quickly came together, the culprits were going to be arrested and taken to court. So for that reason, I think going forward, this is really administrative. It is not policy. It is not within the ambit of the cabinet secretary. So for that reason, it's good the question has come. But I think it's high time we start that differentiation of what should come before a committee and what should be settled on the ground by DCCs and county commissioners. Thank you, Chair.
Just suggestion.
And it's already 11:30, so I kindly ask members to.
One suggestion. Waziri, I've had the privilege of serving with many other former members of parliament. Actually, this is the 6th member in Ijara. This problem has been there. It is historical. You are the first occupant of that office with a legal mind. I'm not trying to impute any improper motive on your predecessors. Can you be reformist and courageous enough and face this problem of Ijara and Garissa, and you know the ingredients? And for the sake of peace, tranquility, and posterity. Because the fear of the unknown is what has Chairman, everybody fears. Nobody wants to make a decision. And in my culture, we say the worst crime one can commit is indecision. Can you be bold enough, courageous enough? Because you have the legal mind, you have the political support, you have what it takes, and we pray for you, and solve this issue. And you know what it takes to solve this issue? It was historical. Those historical issues are not there. Immediately after independence, you know what happened. The politics of Tana River, the politics of Somalia, you know the politics. Those things are no more. Nobody wants to go the other side. In fact, if anything, everybody wants to come the Kenyan side. So my plea to the minister is, be courageous enough, solve this problem so that the next member who will come after 20 years, I want him to, of course I don't want to interview with the people of Ijara, but I think he's doing very well. So that this young member can say in his reign, this problem between Garissa and by extension Ijara and Tana River has been sorted out by one progressive candid, strong minister. And you go on.
Sarah, what is it again, kindly, so that we move?
No, Chair,
A very high-ranking member. His
I just
advice
want-
is always valid.
I just want to say in 2 minutes that I support what Honorable Ras was saying, that the Waziri should put his foot down on his Ngao officers in both Tana River and Garissa, starting with the county commissioner down. Number 2, I want to give my unqualified opinion to my friend, the Honorable Member for Ijara, that even as we ask for government to intervene, as members and as leaders, we have a role to play. So I think, and I will plead that they sit with the member for the other constituency in Tana River and start their own conversation here, then take it down to their constituency. And Chair, I will beg to leave after this because you are going for the G7, and as the incoming governor of Laikipia 2027, God willing.
Best wishes, the G7s. Even Bui Rosa admission is going to the same. So, Waziri, you can go to the next.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'll take it up with
To manage your time.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Chair. Chair, the next one, the second last, according to my record, I think is the second last, is from Taita Taveta. And the member for Undanyi would like to know the status of the investigations on killings of a number of boda riders and thefts of motorcycles in that county the past 3 months, the measures we are taking, the reason why these events are occurring, and what the strategies we are putting to make sure that we contain crime in that area. I respond as follows. We've had, during the last few months, about 7 cases. The first one, Frank Wanjala, deceased, 23 years old, a boda rider who was killed on 7th of August. A security guard actually, guard reported that he found a body with injuries, and the facts are there. The second one is Alfred Mwanyao, 30 years, who was also found dead in along the Mwatate Taveta Road with multiple cuts on their forehead. The third one, Joseph Kilango Mwanjala, 27 years old, reported on 4th July 2024. Number 4, Abdallah Mtongolo Bietim, again 3rd July 2024, in Voi. Then Mengo Silas Silo, deceased, 1st May 2024, again in Voi. Number 6, William Mwaguda, again 38 years, was passed on at Wildlife Works, and the motorcycle was stolen. And number 7, Sylvanus Mwamela, 24 years old. The date is that, I think the date is not very clear there, but the details are provided there. Those are the statistics we have up to now for the last few months. With regard to the second issue, what measures we are taking, arrests, of course, where we can be able to identify suspects, increased police patrols within the county to deter the crime. We have asked the Taita Taveta County Policing, Taita Taveta County Security Team, which is chaired by the County Commissioner, to give us a roadmap on revitalization of community policing as a way of preventing these things. Most of these attacks appear at night, and therefore the support of communities, because they know their localities, through the policing, county policing arrangements, community policing arrangements are important. Then Ngao have been asked to develop also a long-term intervention mechanism. And when I looked at this statement, actually I spoke to the county commissioner and the county police commander. And I told them in the next week or 2, I need a crime prevention and crime suppression strategy to make sure that we stop losing our young people in this manner, which has been reported quite repeatedly across Taita Taveta County. So I don't think at the moment perhaps maybe I can share that with the honorable member when that report comes, so that he can also help us to sensitize the community on what we need to do to contain this situation. The measures we have implemented immediate include enhanced enforcement of traffic regulations, coordinating with the county government also to ensure that we have an orderly border industry. We have encouraged riders to join SACCOs for better regulation because this sector is facing a lot of challenges, because some of the riders have been implicated in crime, but also some of the riders have been victims of crime. So we need a bit of tidying up of the organizational and regulatory framework for them. And in the long term, we want to invest in data collection and in this industry and review the relevant policies and legislation. Already, I am engaging my counterpart in the Ministry of Transport because of the role of NTSA. And between NTSA and National Police Service, we want to come with a policy and legislative proposal for actually regularizing and making sure we create an orderly border industry which is free from crime, but also contributes to economic development, reduce the number of accidents that are a huge economic cost on the communities across the country, and also a strain on the healthcare system of the country, because there are hospitals which have dedicated wards for border related accidents of both passengers and riders. And therefore, Chair, in a nutshell, at the moment we are seized of this matter, and the County Security and Intelligence Committee of Taita Taveta has been told within the next 14 days at the latest, they must file a report. I said 7, but you know, because of the to and fro, maybe 14 will be a good time so that we can be able to share with the leaders there and support the suppression of crime in Taita Taveta County. I submit.
Mheshimiwa Danson.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Waziri, for the
2 minutes kindly.
For the response. First, Chair, I want to just you to understand, and the Minister, that we are losing on average 2 young people in a month for the last 5 months. So far, I think the number you've indicated is 7. This one you're missing. The first one that was killed in April, Daniston Mwakio Mangombe, but particularly happened to be my cousin. So it was the first casualty. Then since April to date, we have lost another 7. So you can imagine every month, an average of about 2 cases. Waziri, since the cases started, there is no one that has been arrested in connection to murder. Out of the 7, all of them have lost their motorbikes, but there are about 15 to 20 motorbikes that have been stolen, but the victims were not killed. So these 7 were killed. So I keep wondering whether this country, our intelligence is working, whether DCI is working. You know, cases, killings, and the same fashion. The bodies are dismembered, they are deep cuts, they're all, you know, brutally murdered. And when the first case happened, Chair, we spoke to the security operators in Taita Taveta. They said that was the last. Then the second one happened. They said it is the last. Last Friday, we buried the most recent one, just last Saturday. So this, and when I sought for this statement, we were at number 5. Now we are at number 7. So Waziri, I think there's something that is totally broken down in terms of security and intelligence in Taita Taveta, which needs to be fixed. And one area that I want to say, Chair, you allow me, Waziri, remember when you were appointed the first time, you came up with an indication that police officers that have stayed 3 years in a station needs to be reshuffled. I think this is a high time that happens in Taita Taveta. Any police person who has stayed in Voi and the larger Taita Taveta for the last 3 years. I think that's where we need to start. So that then we can start afresh, because we can't be losing young people. Average 25 years, it is sad. And now that we celebrated the last one last week, I want to believe that this is the last, now that we are engaging. Because just call your officers to order, let them work. DCI, intelligence, and the entire security committee, let them work. Lastly, Chair, it's apparent that all these border guys have been at motorbikes on credit when they're just about to finish paying for the loans, or they've just finished, is when the border get missing. So we're also asking your ministry to investigate whether these guys who lend to motorcycles to border operators, whether they know something about this issue. Because it is happening that all the borders are on credit, but they have 5,000-10,000 to finish, borders are stolen. And therefore, so that then if there is a connection, we need to call them into order. And lastly, when they sign for those agreements, they're told that the motorcycles are insured. But there's never compensation. They get stolen, and that is it. The families do not get any compensation. And lastly, okay, I've said lastly enough times, but I need to say this, that even as we do this, Chair, and I feel this statement is not, I know the capacity Waziri has. I think this statement has just been sent from either the county commissioner or the county commander. It doesn't look like it is a serious statement. Just saying what a border has to go join circles, what a border to, it doesn't have content. And I'm sure that's why, Waziri, when you looked at it, you called and asked for another report to be filed in 2 weeks. I want to request, Waziri, I think that kuna mchezo mahali. Because in the country, Chair, I've done some investigation. The whole country, for the last 5 months, we've lost less than 15 border operators. 7 of them are from Taita Taveta. So there's something in Taita Taveta that is happening that needs more, your eye in Taita Taveta. 7 out of 15 in the country, a small county, a peaceful county, there's a problem. Chair, there was a rumor, I don't see us to confirm, that there was a murder convict that escaped Manyani in March. And I did call Manyani, the in charge of Manyani prison, but I didn't get any information. But it appeared in some gutter press that there is a murder convict who happened to be he had committed murder a year ago in my constituency, and he was convicted for 30 years. The rumor has it, he was in a gutter press somewhere, and people in the social media that he had disappeared. So I wanted to confirm whether that is a position, and if it's a position, maybe that can be, maybe there is a connection. Thank you, Chair.
Chair, we will, as the members observed and as also had told the committee, we are not at a position now to comprehensively address that issue. That's why I gave my team 2 weeks. But what I want to agree with the member outrightly now is the issue of the deployment we have in Taita Taveta at the moment. That's something we can administratively look at even as we wait for the report, both DCI and the NIS team there. On the question of our state officers, we started this exercise last year. 42,500 officers have been in one station for more than 3 years, contrary to government policy. We began the program of the transfers. We are halfway. We are about 26,000 already have moved because of their logistical issues. There are issues that come with these transfers and movements. But I want to assure the House that that policy is reversible and will be implemented to the full. Any officer who has served in one station for more than 3 years must move to another station. You cannot have a security officer serving in one area for 7 years, 10 years, 15 years. It is against public interest, and they make police officers part of the local community. They start opening bars and doing civilian things there, and marrying local girls and getting married to local boys. And you know, the police officer loses the integrity, the impartiality, and the esteem that he should carry themselves with. So I will perhaps engage the member further once that, and if the committee needs me maybe later on this,